Hello, welcome back to Blender Sushi Live Noding. In this episode, I want to introduce some kind of an idea. It's basically um, kind of a way we can hack shape keys using Sverchok Add-On in Blender. So I always like the idea of having everything kind of connected. So we know that in Blender, if you have like an object and you have like multiple shape keys, and then you join the shape keys, um, join the mesh as the shape keys for the objects, the shape keys itself then doesn't have any relationship to to the to the shapes itself. So I was thinking maybe we can kind of use Sverchok to kind of access the shape keys data and then kind of modify it on the fly. So here I have some kind of setup. This is like everything is in real time, and this is basically a cube, right? Originally it's a cube, and then I have this shape key, and the shape keys is being modified by Sverchok on the fly, which is that's because of these 4 nodes, and whatever data I'm plugging in into this value will actually modify the data. And the nice thing about this is I can always turn it off, and this guy is back to the original object, so I can get rid of subdivisions, and it's really just like a cube. If I get rid of the matte cap, yeah, it's simply just a cube. And with a cube, and look at this shape keys, if I turn it on, suddenly we have this live shape keys that we can tweak and modify using Sverchok in this case. And currently it's just like kind of like a noise pushing the vertices. It's very basic example, but yeah, this is all because of these 4 nodes accessing the object ID, and in this case it's the shape keys of the objects. Yeah, I'll just give you a demo quickly. I'll delete everything. Oh, actually I need the cube. So we have a cube object. Like I said, if you have like a shape keys in Blender, and I'll just make a single shape keys, and then we have these shape keys, and then I'll make it like I'll join it as a shapes for this original cube object. You see, we can change the shape of the cube to match this shape, okay, but they are no longer like in relations, whatever, they're linked, but this guy now have its own data, and it's kind of separate to this guy. So if I'm modifying this objects, which is the shape, this guy doesn't change. And the way we can change this is if we jump kind of like we kind of maybe we pin this object, and then we make changes to the shape keys itself, and then the shape keys itself changing. So I think that's kind of the workflow if you are doing it manually. So you have like multiple shape keys for a character, for example, for a character's head, and you make it like smiling or like a different kind of expression, and you want to tweak, you always need to go to edit mode and etc. I always want to have some kind of setup where we can access the shape keys as a live object, and in this case I will be using Sverchok for doing that. So let's see how we can do that. So we don't need this shape key anymore, we can just delete it. This guy is the original cube. I'm gonna save it real quick. So this is Sverchok shape keys hack. Save it. So we have the original cube, and then we have this shape. I will actually kind of use Sverchok and gonna totally replace this shape keys. So I'll leave it at 1. Let's go to compositing, Sverchok, and let's jump into the node tree. Let's source this guy, objects in mk3, get selection, and we're gonna use object ID set, and we're gonna need 4 of them. Okay, don't be afraid with this. Basically, once you understand what's going on, it's pretty easy. So we have the objects. The object goes in. We want to access the ShapeKeys data, and the ShapeKeys data. If we go here and then kind of make changes, you will see here data.shapekeys blah blah blah. Okay, we're gonna actually type that in. So data.shapeKeys. We don't actually need to type in the key, just type it like that, and then the next one we need to type in just the key blocks. This one we need to specify the name of the shape keys. And we plug this guy into the objects, and let's check it out. So we are accessing the key blocks cube. The next thing we want to do is to access the data, which is the coordinate which we want. So these two things I found by digging into the data using Python console, and apparently this is it. This is exactly what you need. So if we check this guy, we should see the vector. This is the vector, the current vector of the shapes. Okay, so this for actually controlling the actual shape keys. So if I actually give it like a random vector value, we have 8 points of this cube. If I just plug this in, we should actually change the coordinate. I need to plug it into this guy, and then you see this guy is suddenly like random. But we don't want random. We want to basically source the original data and kind of modify it from there. So a quick one, just randomize input vertices. So this is the original cube data. We pass it in here, and we randomize it using this XYZ amplitude. This is like totally randomized the input, and plug this guy in there, and you see suddenly we have this guy. The nice thing about this is like we can always kind of adjust it and then back to original. I found this to be like really powerful, because suddenly we have this Sverchok thing going on, and we still have the original objects, and we can control the strength. In fact, if you have like a multiple, maybe if I make a duplicate of this, I don't know, name the key like cube 002. Maybe I shouldn't do this, but anyway, I'm kind of curious if this actually works. So this is gonna be the second shape keys. For the second shape keys, I will use the vector noise thing. I did it many times already. So this is the original vector, goes into the noise, and we want to use vector math and kind of push the original vector into the noise, and then for the output it goes in here. So this is for the second one, like I said. Now let's check it out. Okay, so it seems to be working. I'll check it with the noise. We can have like a smooth value motion changing from frame to frame. So I'm gonna test it out. Frame, plug into the Z, playback. It's actually too fast. Let's slow it down. See, this is noise, okay, and this is assigned to the shape number 2, while we also still have shape number 1, and we can randomize the data from here, from the seed. So yeah, that's actually two shape keys, both controlled directly from Sverchok, and it's being applied to our original cube. This is actually really powerful. I think the relative should be on. So we can have like a 50% strength of this guy and 50% from here. So you can have like a noise kind of moving slowly, and we can randomize the seed on top of that. I don't know, I think this is really powerful. It's let's say if I'm like using a frame, oh yeah, that's always kind of crashing Blender somehow. It's my computer, sorry about that. I'll just quickly restart. It will not crash on your computer. It's just I think my graphic card incompatibility. My computer is pretty old, that's why. So basically, now we have like two shape keys. We still have the original cube, and Sverchok is kind of goes inside this cube, kind of modifying it from the inside. It's like it's a bit like Ghost in the Shell hack. The nice thing about this is that we can also export it out as Alembic. I tested many times. I think it's actually working really well. So I'm just exporting these animations, you know, for 100 frame. I start a new file, import Alembic, go to the desktop and get this guy. There you go, it's working. In fact, if you have Alembic, you know, Alembic in Blender, it's gonna be very useful if you want to kind of offset animations and doing like I think I have to kind of let's see, I think I need to play back the frame, but basically I can randomize each Alembic animation. Yeah, but basically the Alembic is actually working. Now go back to our file and let's restart Blender again. It just crashed on me again. I don't know. I think whenever I save and then try to open another blend, it actually crashes. I don't know why. Okay, let's get back to our file. File, save as. Maybe I shouldn't save too often. So this is the Sverchok shape key hack. So again, here we have two examples. We can always zero the shape keys out, and we have our original cube. The second one is being it has noise kind of pushing the vertices. The first one, if we use randomize the seed, this is just, you know, the usual randomized vertices. We can always adjust this. Just we can use all kind of nodes in Sverchok to modify these objects. And in fact, if you're the only limitation, of course, with shape keys, you shouldn't ever change the number of vertices. The number of vertices should be the same, otherwise it's gonna cause like an error or like a corrupted mesh. Other than that, it's gonna work really well. So, and you can always, you know, tweak the strength and even kind of push it out even higher, like that. I think that's really cool. So you can go beyond 0 and 1 value on top of the whatever Sverchok is doing. So exactly that's exactly like perfect for what I always want to have, like a setup where we have like the original object, and then we have like Sverchok doing something, But if you want, we can always like, this is like the final result, right? This is the start or the original object. I always want to treat Sverchok like kind of like a modifier. So if you want, we can always refer to the original, but we can have like a multiple shape keys, unlimited number of shape keys. And so yeah, I think this is can be very useful. There is one more thing that if you don't want to use shape keys, you can actually do everything inside Sverchok and kind of generating a new object. That's normally the normal workflow. Whenever you do like a cube and whatever you're doing animations, normally we are not doing it using the shape keys. We just gonna output it, just output the vector and then just plug it in. The normal workflow is to use a viewer vmesh, plug in the vertices and the original polygon, and you actually get a new object, which is this guy. I'll show you real quick. So I'm gonna use this 3D cursor, okay? 3D cursor, look at the 3D cursor, and then plug this into the matrix. Click, and that's a new object. This is the new Sverchok object. This guy is using shape keys, but this one is like a new object. Normally, that's always the case. Sverchok generate new objects, while the original cube is unchanged. If I'm not wrong, we shouldn't plug the final result into the cube, otherwise we have like a cyclic dependency. That's not good. So, but with the shape keys, we kind of have like an Sverchok becomes like an intermediate objects, and we can always revert back to the original. So this is like a totally perfect. I think I will use this more often. Yeah, I think that's a really good workflow, I think. So this is the normal workflow. Normally you have the second object. This is the original and have second. And using the normal shape keys, you can't really link the shape keys and keep it alive. But with Sverchok, apparently you can with this guy. So yeah, give this a try. Let me know what you think. And if you have any question, I will try to answer it. This is just an idea. Maybe it will change again in the future. I don't know, depending on how Blender being developed. But I think for now, this is like a really good ways if you want to kind of modify mesh shapes, objects using Sverchok. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for live noding. If you have any question, just let me know. And then thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.